Okay.
She's doing better with dogs walking, like across the street with her and stuff. She's still bad if you're within a certain range of her.
Okay.
Like this.
Sure. And does she blow from this?
Like it works?
Yeah.
She will if the other dog is reacting as well.
Sure.
More expected.
Sure.
But she's doing really well if there's no dog around, which is great.
Sure.
I started running with her, keeping the same like stay behind me kind of thing.
Okay.
She initially like running forward like the old runs, like holding her arm.
Sure.
But turning and doing the same thing I do when I'm walking, except for not continuing to run, so I'm not like pull the leash too hard.
Sure.
Was able to basically get her back and still like stay by me.
Okay. So her neck here, right? The irritation. Is that from the prong or is that the e-collar?
I think it's the e-collar. She literally doesn't have it on unless I'm walking with her. So
Sure.
it's like less than 1 hour that she's wearing it.
Sure.
And then rotate the sides.
Sure.
I think she's allergic to the metal. I was picking up
There's hypoallergenic ones?
the titanium ones instead of the soft comfort ones that you sent me. I was thinking about getting those.
Sure. On the, I think it's on the same website, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Just send me the link before you commit to them, just like a double check, because there's other types of e-collars.
Okay.
And some only, like the screws are a little bit different. Second, check. If it's from the same company, there shouldn't be an issue. But just in case, okay? So here, with her escalating, so go ahead and come off the floor here, okay? If because you're outside, and what's the threshold for her?
Like
How close to the dog before she?
Generally, like, I haven't walked directly next to the dog since I walked the dog on the corner of the same street too much. So if they're across the street, she'll notice them, like, once it's on, and then, like, get herself back on track.
Okay.
And if they're closer, then she'll cross the street.
Thanks, Will. Okay. Can I see your phone?
I just pulled on her dog.
We're going to try a couple of things here.
Okay, it's only on 45.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't really make you feel really bad about it.
Yeah, what the
What's the eye?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I get it with Chewy, so she really just eats the dog food, and then when I make her do like her like natural foods, like apple slices, things like that.
So let's look into those titanium. What I would do is avoid that area for now.
Okay.
I can see it all over her body, like even underneath her
Yeah.
hindquarters there. You can see it's really red.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she needs like a dog lotion.
What we'll do is put you in contact with Mary. Yeah, so that can also be a big part of it. Okay. So that's like the condoms. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Okay. So here, I was switching up how we were correcting. I started using the prong as opposed to the e-collar. And then what I'm doing here is I'm coming in just at a harsh level. Okay. So here I just maxed it out. I just want to things out. I can do two counts. Okay. And the reason why I'm doing this is ideally we streamline it and gradually start to work our way up, right? But if the decline is like really, really struggling, you should be able to, like, technically, and then she's a very high strung bitch. And say that so. She's a very high strung pitty. And we start low, we work our way up, right? And then you were at 45, and I forgot what we did on before. And 60. Sure. So we're trying to make it like kind of nuanced, right? But then it really shouldn't be a pain. Okay, it should be pretty straightforward. So here, that was now the third tap on 127. Okay, and I know because I'm trying to obviously work with you in your pace, and I'm also trying to work with your pace. I'm trying to keep you motivated. You're like, okay, cool, it's getting better. It should be a pretty good process, okay? So here, on that third tap, you see how quiet she got, okay? Yes, and she just completely deflected now. She wants nothing to do with what's going on with here, okay? So first I tried the strong corrections. She's actually pretty receptive to them, but she still was stimulated, okay? And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, I already know we've done weeks of foundation and addressing the issue and stuff. And I know she wasn't lunging or barking. But what happens when I just do a 127, and I gave one tap, and she gave a big response, but then she was still whining. I gave another tap, she gave another big response. And then gradually started whining, and I gave the third tap, and then finally, cool. What's nothing to do with anything going on. Okay? So, this is another possibility for you. Okay, it's another option. We're going to bring up dogs, we're going to press this a bit more today.
Okay.
So what I would do here is same thing, right? Except now we're not playing games. I just come in at 127. Okay? Yes. Now you're not going pop, 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 pop. I'm going boom. What are you going to do about it? Boom. What are you going to do about it? Right? And like my rule, like you see a little bit of the escalation here, is if I don't get it by the first tap, by that third tap. So here, already disagreeing with that little tiny behavior, still at that same number. Okay? Because what ideally, when we work with reactivity, I try to approach it at the intensity of the dog's behavior. But what can happen is it makes it sounds like too much work. When it should be very just black and white. Okay? So then I start to even address the very low level stuff at that same level. Because like for some dogs, we'll be correcting everything, and the owner's like, just like, still the reactivity, right? And I'll go, like when the dog's like an immediate blow up, unlike the dog can't let me go. Okay, so I start correcting, looking at dogs at 1.7. Now, logically, at the very beginning, that doesn't make sense. Because I go, well, I don't know if anything else is going to work. So that's when we do all that stuff first, and then we go, okay, well, we've already done the homework. We're already 4 to 5 weeks deep. And I can already see, or I can see that the dog isn't, it's not as black and white as you would like it. Okay?
Gray area.
Yes. Because you have to understand, like for dogs, their logic versus our logic is very different. So like, did I tell you about the garbage forger, the dog that used to go in the garbage? So he would go in the garbage, and they would do 127 continuous, okay? And he would keep going in the garbage. And they're like, Jesse, it doesn't make sense. Like, why would the dog go in the garbage? Like, because it's a dog. Like, and it's worth it for him to be in the garbage, get a thing or two, and take that hit. So then what we did was 127 continuous for even looking at the garbage. Okay, so then he wanted nothing to do with it, because he couldn't even look at it anymore. Then all of a sudden he was avoiding the garbage can. Okay? But his logic was, sure, if I can get at least one little morsel out of there, I'll take the hit. That's their logic, right? Because you gotta remember, dogs bite each other. Okay? So here, we're at 6 taps in. Okay? And I'm not giving her any rule direction with the leasher. I'm just giving that tap at home, what are you gonna do in response? Okay? When we do this, in your setting, it's gonna be a little bit different than here. Okay? But you should garner a very big response in terms of like here, she's just like, whoa, what is that? Okay? And then right away you saw that instant decline in her intensity. Okay? So you take this to here, take this her back to here. I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down to your typical operating number.
About 55 is what I'm
That's fine. And I'm just having practice feel back and forth here, okay? We're going to get a dog.
Should I go and start walking?
Yeah, we're going to start walking. I tell her to kind of redirect the brain a bit. Relax. Good. Move closer. See how you go. Right here. You're at 60 still?
55.
Yeah. She's carrying off the distance. Yeah.
With the dog in her sight.
She's kind of like looking past everything. Yeah. Right there, right? No, be sorry. Then you're gonna stand still. Now just accommodate her for now.
Okay, so let it go.
Yeah. And then just go ahead and take a step back. And I'll tell you when to check. But yeah, she wants nothing to do with her. Okay, you don't just go ahead in here. I did raise the energy there. Remember last time she was, I think she was grumbling at her or something like that?
Yeah.
Right? Yep. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's all fine. The way like her ears are completely black back. You can see her mouth shattering a little bit. Okay? Yeah. That shattering is nervousness. There we go. A little stress on. Yeah, letting it go. There we go. Good. We're gonna dip it down. We're gonna walk back and forth and grab another dog. How is she with small dogs?
I think she handles them better than bigger dogs. I was able to acclimate her to a small dog faster than the husky,
Okay.
and she used to live with cats, so.
I'm gonna bring what you all here because he's got a dinner in the bottom. But then, yeah, right there comes Lewis. A little bit more this way towards me. There you go. A little stop. That's good. Yeah, we'll just see how she starts off. Yeah. Just give me a little window here. Yep. See how that one's not like as dramatic for her?
Yeah.
But, so you can, when we do this, I'm not only just reading her energy, I'm reading this dog. Like Lex, I don't know if you know, when she's walking by, she would walk kind of, she would be walking and she'd slow down a bit, then she'd pick up her pace again because of tension. Okay. Same thing here with Poncho. If I walk by, I try to bring him in, you see how he resists? Yeah, it's because of the energy. Okay, and she has an intensity, and that's why he doesn't want to get here. Okay, so little things like that tell me a lot. So like whenever if I'm going forward to try to socialize or anything like that, that's something to just keep in mind. Okay, let me swap out from here down the road. Is she muzzle conditioned?
I've never put her in one. I don't know if the people who have her before me ever been, but I don't think so. Not his muscle density?
No, she's fine. This is a big step. Going to bring her over. And have a U-turn. So go down a little bit more than just U-turn. He's also very intense dog. He's dropped down a bit over too. Yep, second. Little 127. Okay.
That one was less extreme reaction to 1.7. Like, should do the whole thing.
The whole, so what can happen is, if you're too low, it's like an antagonist. You annoy.
Okay.
Okay.
Make it worse almost.
So yeah, so that's why we have to go through things, kind of figure out like what's gonna work for them. First thing is always low level. And a big chunk of the time that works, that's why it's always the first thing to do. If this was the first, if this was like a big chunk of the time it works, this would be the first thing to do, right? But here, if you're too low, you can piss off. If you're too high, you can also piss off. That's why that low is high, and I say it's gonna be sucky for a little bit. So you have to figure out what's gonna be appropriate, right? Because if the dog can take 80, then there's no need for you to lower it to 70. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's all that we're trying to achieve. So here, with Malachite, right here at 55, cat, but you saw how it left her kind of with residual tension. So I was like, just go 127, and that one hit was like crap. Because now you're just cutting through.
Okay.
Because we have physical toughness and emotional stress, okay, or emotional state, right? So we have both those things. If it's a really physically tough dog, plus they're under a lot of stress and they're like very anxious, they're going to be like non-receptive to a lot of stuff that's going on, okay? So people don't account for that. That's why I was telling them we want to because I'm accounting for that. Because I've had dogs that you could be maxed out and they are unfazed. Okay? Yeah, they're completely unfazed because you have two of those things overriding that. Okay? So here, with things and all around some more, and keep an eye on Malachite. Is mine. see how much calmer she just seems now? Because you're not leaving her with any kind of residual tension. Good. Swap them out. Sorry, one more dog here. This dog is also very intense, so.
Do you have a tire or?
You can feel it and stuff. So yeah, we have Buddy here, who's a very anxious, reactive dog. So he has a very intense energy. So we're going to see how she does with him. So I'm trying to do more of the work. But outside, what I have to do now is you're going to have to get used to just going up and down. When you see a dog, boom, just already. Okay, I don't care if she hasn't seen the dog yet, because what I want is you see it first. You're already up there. You saw it before her. She
Okay.
right there. So she doesn't even get to go past 0.5.
So we're just cutting out everything.
Yes. Okay. We're going to see how this works.
Should I, so for a dog who finds a fence,
Hey! Just bring the shirt down.
for a dog who finds a fence, should I walk by the fence? Or go around?
Yeah. You walk by it.
Okay, and then, for people, am I still coming to the side, or am I gonna try and walk over it? Like if someone's walking this dog, should I come to the side like this,
Yeah.
in the past?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm very much like just confronting because, let's say you try that for this week. You know, like you're just gonna step aside, walk across the street, you know, dog can't fences, nothing. Okay, so, right? Or it's like, it's 50-50. And then I gotta figure out what that 50-50 is, because it means it's working, but, you know, maybe there's certain, because the remote can only do so much. Like, so for instance, sometimes the owner is attacking the dog. You see how they're already kind of shaky? Yeah. So here, I mean, most owners, they're pulling their dog back as they're removing, right? And it's the pulling the dog back that's almost always the reason why the dog's so reactive. It's always straight up. Okay, break. Hoover. Way easier. And I'm not going to, typically we correct all these nonsense with the head shifting stuff, but the reason I'm not is for her. Okay? Because just like my dog's going to like that energy, for her, it's the same thing. Okay? So, yeah. So the more you do is just confront this and go, all right, I'm at 127. That's the highest I think you can go other than continuous. Okay? If you don't do it, keep it there. Okay? Is I want you to see how much easier it is to correct her, stop her. You should start seeing a decline. It should be like, you know, the first day I had to track her 10 times and I saw 10 dogs. The next time I only tracked her 7 of the 10 dogs. Then it's like the same thing it was before. But now I'm set a much higher operating point. Okay? So we're just kind of through all that anxiety, all that stress, all that intensity, all that stimulation. Okay? You're going to see what that fixes. When you're done with the stimulus, you would then dip your number down to whatever your typical obedience number is. Okay? And we're going to see how that works. The other possible thing it could be is maybe she's doing better with her reactivity, but you're still struggling. And it could be because we lowered the number for the obedience as well. So then I hike up that number too. So everything's just being hiked up. Okay? If it's, you get ahead of me, 126, as an example. Look at the dog, like everything was 126. So she's like, crap, there is no grade there. There is no leniency. I have to learn to deal with this and keep myself in check. Okay? And you see how just calmer demeanor is now? Yeah, she's calmer than last week. Okay? Or the last time I saw it, right? But we did two different approaches. First approach was trying to be appropriate, right? I'm like, we're going to ease it up, recognize this, read this, right? But it was very nuanced. And now it's just like, okay, we're going to read this, 127, and now it's just, we're getting a lot more past this, okay? Now the next thing is, remembering to correct, even if it's at the slightest escalation, okay? So if she sees a dog, boom, 127, okay? Because you don't want that 0.5 to become 7. Because then, like, remember the resistance we had? Is you'll probably start to creep that in. Okay? Because she's got a taste of, now had a formal taste of her language, like we're not holding back, right? So now she's like, oh crap, like the mom with Jessie, like she was really on. Okay. And then when you go home, and you're like, well, I know there's 727, let me try 90. And then she's gonna notice that. Okay, so it has to be consistent. Now, if you start to see the 127 pass is creating an overreaction each and every time, you know, this one she takes it. There's a big reaction, but she's like, okay, and she just settles, right? But if you do 127, it's like, and she's blowing up, and she's just like seemingly worse, then you go down. Then I might try 110. Yes. Now, because what happens is, as the brain it gets more tuned into the 127, it becomes more receptive. Okay? So then she's like, oh crap, like I really know what that feels like. It's gonna make it more sensitive. That essentially like 110 becomes the 127. Okay? And then maybe after a period of time, you see the same thing with 110. Then it goes to 90. 90 is now the 127, technically speaking. Okay? So I start to break them down. Because then she has to do the math of like, is it really worth doing this nonsense? And the answer is, it shouldn't be. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I'm gonna move around with Buddy here.
Am I supposed to be tapping for any escalation?
This is all okay for now. As chill as he can be, but yeah. You see what that 127 created? Right when she just started to build up? Yeah. And remember with Lexi how she was like getting kind of a negative tension, right? Which was like scary. And I think she ended up growling and lunging. And then here with Lex, she was giving you that same demeanor. And it just goes to that 127. Okay? Questions on this so far?
These are pretty normal.
Until, yeah, so what we're going to most likely do is after today, because this is your main goal, right? Okay, is I'd say take 2 weeks to do this before you start your next visit. Okay. Because I want to see, because the first week is just like the introduction, right? And then going into week 2, it should be like pretty crap, like that was such a big difference from the first week. Then you're like, hey Jesse, I think we're good. We got it. Then we can teach home call or whatever. So, you know, something that's applicable to you in terms of obedience. That's just more control. Okay. So that's what I would do here. I'm going to put this guy up because I don't think I get anything from her. I'm gonna have to cut that out. No, I'm just joking. Let's go down to like 45. We're gonna keep something. Okay, 'cause that's fairly straightforward. You've already done all the work. Okay, now we're just changing the approach, and we're not going to change it. Okay. So what we're gonna work on is the stay. Okay. The way I teach today is very different than other trainers. Most people go like sit, stay, down, stay, go to your bed, stay. When you sit down or go to your bed, all have implied stay. You don't need to stay. Okay. So here, when I do the stay, I do it from the healing position. So what command is Malachite in my mouth? So it's time to sit. A lot of people look at the dog, all the dogs gonna sit. I'm like, no. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, the dog's gonna heal. That's the last thing you said. Okay. So what is going to you go down, and you come off the top right there. Yeah, right here, the center of the floor. Stop. Okay. What you're doing here, so your left hand, I'm going to show you. You're going to just go stay. You're going to pivot out with your right leg so that you're facing the other hand. Okay. Okay.
And I'm in front of her.
Yes, you're going to turn. Okay.
So start now.
So left hand stay.
Stay.
And you're going to keep that knee short like you had. A little short. That's good. And one face move to the right leg. Okay. Now up. Stand. Okay. And I'm going to take a step back. Yeah. Here's that top tap. So what we're trying to do here is when you pivot in front of her, is you're tapping to keep her away from you. Okay? So let's go back to her side. You're going to say heel.
Heel.
And we're going to try that one time. So start walking. Good. Go ahead and pivot. Pivot. Go ahead and left turn.
I got me confused. Sorry, dog.
Go ahead and slow to stop. Good. All right. Go ahead and pivot next to her. So you're standing the same thing. Just make it easy, okay? So if you stay, right? Right leg out, but when you move, if she moves with you, you pull immediately straight up and tap, and you're trying to prevent her from coming back. So for the last like 4 weeks or so, tap has been come to my side. Okay, so now she's going to get confused. Now we're saying tap means keep her. Okay, go now with the left leg and scoop in next to the side. Good, and good. And your left leg forward. Good. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to walk around and you're going to come to that same spot. Good turn. Go and slow to a stop. Good. Stay. Left, right leg. Yep. Good. Wait a moment. Now back to her side. Good. We're going to do that 2 more times.
I feel like she's doing pretty good with this so far.
Yeah. Good. Going to come to a stop. Good.
Stay.
Back to her side. Good. One more. Good. Good. Gonna come to a stop. Good. Stay.
Stay.
Good. Back to her side. Good. Now what we're gonna do, same thing, except once you come out in front of her, so you get to stay, right? Pivot out. Wait a moment. You're gonna walk around the front half of Malachite.
Okay.
And you're gonna end up in front again, and turn her aside. Okay? Now when you do this, you're gonna have your leash short and be outstretched in case she gets up and tap and get her
Back.
keep away from you. It doesn't have to be exact spot, but I just care that you keep her away from you. Because if she ends up swiveling her hips to get close to you, she's not gonna differentiate.
Okay. Walk first again.
Correct.
Heel. Stay.
Right. Up tap. There you go. You got it. Very good. And then step in front. Back to her side. Good. We're gonna try that 4 more times.
Heel.
Moose. He's trying to sneak. Go ahead and tap him just, yeah. There you go. Good.
Stay.
Mm-hmm. Good. Good. 3 more.
Surprised she even did that with the dog right in the cage there too.
Oh, yeah. Just day at the office. Good.
Stay.
Good. Excellent.
Heel.
Good. Just we'll do 2 more. Good turn. What's Moose on? What number?
Stay.
What was that? Good. And last one.
Heel. I think she's starting to do better since I can take her on runs again with me.
Mm-hmm.
So she has an energy outlet again.
Do you have a treadmill?
I don't. I guess it's gonna get too cold and snowy to run outside soon.
Good. Very good. Back to her front. Good. And then heel, come a little bit more forward. That's good right there. And stop. So the exercise doesn't matter. But I am for exercise. I'm not saying not to exercise your dog. But when it comes to behavior, it doesn't matter. Okay? I had a guy who used to run his dog for an hour and put him on the treadmill for 2 hours. And his dog was severely reactive. Okay? And he's like, I don't get it. I exercise for 3 hours a day. He's just nonstop, go, go, go. And then he's also very explosive. And I told him it's because he exercised the dog with very little structure. So the dog was constantly on the go. And then reactivity and exercise, 2 different things. So like even if the dog was tired, like he's still gonna go like, I don't like dogs.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. So don't feel like the running is a means of alleviating the reactivity. I'm all for it. And I tell people, do it because you want to.
Right.
Don't do it just because it's gonna help your dog or make your dog better. Because in my experience, it does not. Okay. So here, one minute.
She gets one freebie.
Here, big difference in her demeanor. Remember last time it was just like a lot of back and forth. And I said, all right, I'm not gonna tell you anything. Okay? If you would have came back and you would have told me like, Jesse, like, dogs across the street, no problem. It's like 70-30 with dogs crossing in front of us. I would say we're making progress, right? But it kind of seemed, you made progress, but it kind of seemed like you kind of failed.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I'm like, all right, cool, we're not gonna worry about it. The other stuff is, make it easy, 127, and we'll see what happens. Okay? Yeah. Now, the hardest part for her is dealing with the stuff and being stationary. Okay? Because her brain wants to move. Okay? Her brain wants to be like this. And when you make it be stationary, not only are you countering the brain, but you're making her sit still with all of this going on. And that's why it's such a hard thing for her to do. I know a lot of trainers say don't do this because of that reason. And I'm like, but that's life. Like, you're going to see a dog at the corner one day and you're like, it's just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Okay? So, your homework for this week is...
For 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks? For 2 weeks, yes, for 2 weeks. Is we go out, 127.
Okay.
The moment you see the dog. Okay. Don't worry about her seeing the dog. So this way, if she does see it, you can hear that pine like right now, there's a mishap, right? Because we weren't thinking, right? So then I was like, 127, she got the freebie. But we don't want that happening in life because then she'll gamble.
She'll be like, oh, maybe.
Is it going to be 127 today or is it going to be 50? Okay. So just preemptively assume when I see a dog, 127. Okay. The way you're holding the leash and all that other stuff looks really good. Okay. Okay. Because her ears
Went forward.
with that little yip went forward. Correct. Okay. So if you can catch other sort of like that, even better. You see how she's really conflicted here?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that energy is so much more tame than it was last week. Okay, so hopefully this transitions to home. That's pretty straightforward. These same stuff you can apply when you go on your walk. Let's say you come to a red light while you're waiting for it to turn green after your stay. I'm just doing that to give her another skill set to practice.
Okay.
More things to just kind of establish control. Okay. You don't have to do like little sessions like you did right now. I literally just go on a walk and when I hit a red light, stay. Okay? If she's doing really good, the next step would be a full circle of walking around and stuff and then going back to her side. Okay? Do be mindful of your environment when you're doing this. So if you see a dog coming or something, you definitely reposition, prep that number, and short that leash. Okay. Questions for me?
Is this too big right now?
They're looking at me?
Yeah, like really intensely and licking your lips and stuff?
Yeah, the licking the lips is stress
Okay.
because everything that's going on. The looking intensely, this is, for me, like introspective. Dogs don't really reflect. Okay, dogs don't reflect. But she's in her head about like, man, these are some harsh corrections.
Okay.
Okay, there is no gray area here. Very good. This is, yeah, that's what I see going on in her brain right there, which is exactly what I wanted to see. So what we should see is, again, that decline of that reactivity. Don't try to avoid anything. Take every opportunity to confront the issue. Because that's really what's going to tell us if this approach is going to work for dogs across the street, for dogs at a certain threshold, for, puppy type energy, dogs behind fences, when you turn around the corner, 127. Okay, because what if you see a dog, right? And I want to see how quickly does it stop her.
Okay.
We give the tap, and then we allow her to respond.
Okay.
If you tap at 127 and she just continuously lunges, she's coming again.
Okay.
If you tap on 127 and she's lunging and she jumps back like, what was that? You have to give space to let the brain take the hit and then decide what do I want to do next. Okay? If she steps back and goes, yeah, boom, 127 again. If she steps back and she's like, whoa, I'm gonna just be quiet and shut up, we don't do anything. Okay? Questions?
Should I keep walking past the fence then, or the second she starts to react to the dog, hit 127 and turn around?
You want to be able to walk in front of the fence with no reactivity.
Okay.
Okay?
So continue walking, but just keep her up close and tap.
So what I would do is I would walk, and the moment she lunges, I stop moving, and at 127, she might jump back. I wait a moment, then I move forward, and you might find as you move forward, she lunges again. I stop, boom, and bring her back.
Okay.
So I'm technically allowing her to get as far as she can with the short leash,
Okay.
and getting her to disengage. And then once you repeat that like 2 to 3 times, you should be able to walk past the fence with nothing.
Okay.
Okay? And then I leave.
Okay.
So the last thing she remembers is I blew up at the fence, but then I got corrected for it, and I walked by the fence passively.
And nothing. Okay.
Correct.
And then for the running, I was doing it right? Like I run with her when I'm gonna turn or do something. I don't obviously do it at full run.
You have to slow down.
And then do
Correct.
it, and then I go back up to speed, and that's all good?
Yeah. So, and then you correct it the same way as the walking. So if you got ahead of you, you have to turn.
Just turn. But I don't keep running. I walk so that I don't yank her.
Well, no, that doesn't matter.
Oh.
Because if she's going ahead of you, and I just turn, either the prong is going to correct her or the remote.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what I usually recommend for people is that they walk a block, jog a block, walk a block, jog a block.
Okay.
They keep doing that because it'll be easier to do it at a slower pace than if you're at a full run. And she gets ahead of you because then you got to just turn randomly.
Yeah.
And you'll twist an ankle or something. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I do walk a block, jog a block, and I keep repeating until you start to see her getting activated from running with you without pulling, and then you go, walk a block, jog 2 blocks, things like that.
Okay, cool.
Okay, and gradually increase the distance that you're actually running for. Okay. Any other questions?
No. You said to talk to someone about dog food?
Hey, Maddie, would you take